Have you ever wondered if there's something darker hiding behind your favorite childhood cartoons? Today, I'm going to dive into some of the most unsettling corners of internet horror, lost episode creepypastas. These are the stories that claim somewhere out there forgotten tapes and corrupted files reveal a side of beloved shows you were never meant to see. Episodes that were filled with disturbing imagery, twisted plots, and secrets that never made it to air. From haunted VHS tapes found in dusty basements to mysterious files that surfaced online for just a moment before vanishing, lost episode creepypastas take the familiar and make it terrifying. Whether it's a bizarre, never broadcast episode of SpongeBob, a sinister Mickey Mouse cartoon, or a twisted version of a classic anime, these tales have haunted the internet for years, so join me as we explore the creepiest lost episodes that have ever surfaced online. This is one of the most haunting and iconic creepypastas. It's a story that takes the wholesome Disney cartoons and turns it into something very macabre. This legend centers on a mysterious, lost episode of a black and white Mickey Mouse cartoon from the 1930s. The video, known only as mouse.avi, is said to have been discovered deep in the Disney archives by a cast member, and what's on it is nothing like the cheerful Mickey everyone knows. According to the story, the cartoon starts off innocently enough, showing Mickey walking through a lit city street. However, something feels off. The animation is rough, the background buildings are warped and repetitive, and the soundtrack is nothing but muffled static and unintelligible noises. As the video goes on, Mickey's expression grows more and more vacant. The loop continues, but the music and visuals begin to distort. The city around him decays, and Mickey's face slowly twists into a look of deep despair. The real horror comes in the second half of the video. The background noises become full of screams, distorted voices, and unsettling sounds. The visuals begin to flicker and warp with flashes of grotesque images, faces in agony, cryptic words, and static. The story claims that people who have watched the full video experienced intense dread, hallucinations, or even madness. Some versions say that a cast member who first viewed the tape took their own life after seeing what was on it, and that the tape was quietly hidden away, never to be shown to the public. The legend of mouse.avi spread rapidly through forums and YouTube, helped along by fan-made recreations and quote-unquote found footage style videos. Even though there's no truth to the story, it taps into unsettling ideas that there could be something dark lurking behind even the most innocent childhood characters. The combination of distorted animation, unsettling sounds, and the myth of lost episode makes this creepypasta stick in the minds of everyone who hears it. This is one of the most famous lost episode creepypastas, and it's become a cornerstone of internet horror stories about children's cartoons. The story is told from the perspective of an intern at Nickelodeon who claims to have been given a mysterious unaired episode of SpongeBob to review. The episode is simply labeled Squidward's Side, and from the very start, something feels wrong. The cartoon begins with Squidward preparing for a clarinet recital, but the atmosphere is depressing and the animation is suddenly off. Darker colors, awkward pacing, and unnerving lack of background music. During his performance, the audience boos him off stage. The story takes a disturbing turn as Squidward sits on his bed, clearly devastated. What follows is a series of increasingly unsettled shots. Squidward's shown crying, his eyes become bloodshot, and the screen randomly flashes disturbing, hyper-realistic images of children's faces twisted in pain and terror. As the episode goes on, the visuals and sounds become more and more disturbing, static, distorted voices, and flashes of gore. The most infamous moment comes when Squidward, in a fit of utter despair, picks up a shotgun and unalives himself. Let's just say. The screen fades to black, and the rumored episode ends. The narrator claims that everyone who watched the tape at Nickelodeon was horrified, and the episode was immediately reported and supposedly destroyed. Now, of course, there's no truth to the story, and no such episode ever existed. Also, Nickelodeon has never acknowledged anything like it, so I really don't think this is true. But the legend of Red Mist stuck around because it took a beloved innocent cartoon and pushed it to the darkest extreme imaginable. This infamous lost episode centers around the beloved TV show The Simpsons. This story claims that there exists a never-aired episode from the show's early days, written by Matt himself, but it was so disturbing and bizarre that it was locked away and never meant for public viewing. According to the legend, the episode's supposed to be part of the first season, but its production code suggests it was made out of order. The story's narrator, a die-hard Simpsons fan, says he managed to obtain a digital copy after a series of strange and unsettling interactions with the creator himself. After finally watching the episode, things immediately felt off. The animation's rough and unfinished, the pacing's very slow, and the characters act strangely sad and distant. The plot takes a turn when the Simpsons are on a plane, and Bart, up to his usual antics, accidentally gets sucked out of the plane window somehow and dies in a gruesome detail. Understandably, the family is devastated, and the rest of the episode focuses on the grief, lingering shots of them crying, silent dinner scenes, and a sense of hopelessness that hangs over everything. The backgrounds decay, showing images of empty, ruined buildings, and the soundtrack is just low droning noise. The episode supposedly ends with a montage of grave markers in a cemetery, each bearing the names of guest stars from the show, including those who haven't even passed yet at the time of the episode was made. The narrator claims the whole experience left them deeply unsettled, with a lingering feeling that something was wrong, not just the episode, but in reality itself. This is a creepypasta that transforms a beloved piece of 90s Nickelodeon nostalgia into a disturbing urban legend. For kids growing up with Nick in the Afternoon, Stick Stickly was a friendly popsicle stick puppet who served as a cheerful, approachable host, reading viewer mail, introducing cartoons, and making summer afternoons feel a little more personal and fun. He was harmless, funny, and instantly recognizable. But the creepypasta takes this innocent character and gives him a much darker backstory. The story's told by a narrator who recalls watching Nick in the Afternoon as a child and loving every minute of it. Years later, browsing obscure video sharing sites, the narrator stumbles on something peculiar. Rumors of a quote-unquote lost episode of Stick Stickly that aired only once, late at night, and was quickly pulled from the airways. Supposedly only a handful of viewers ever saw it. According to the legend, this lost episode starts out normal, but quickly turns bizarre and unsettling. Stick Stickly's usual cheerful personality fades away, replaced by a monotone, almost robotic voice. The background changes from bright and colorful to dark and shadowy. Instead of reading mail from fans, Stick Stickly stares directly into the camera, saying things that feel oddly personal, sometimes even mentioning facts about viewers that no one else should know. The episode grows more and more disturbing, with Stick Stickly's face and voice shifting into something unnatural, and the show ending abruptly as Stick Stickly says, "I'll see you soon," before the screen cuts to static. After watching the video, the narrator describes feeling watched and uneasy for days, almost like Stick Stickly was still out there waiting. The story suggests that others who saw the episode have reported similar feelings, along with nightmares and a sense of dread. Some even claim that children who saw the broadcast disappeared soon after, fueling the mystery and fear around the lost episode. This is a very unsettling and bizarre lost episode creepypasta that's out there, blending the innocence of children's television with really disturbing horror. The story is presented as a series of blog posts by a narrator who claims to have discovered and investigated a forgotten Nick Jr. show from the late 90s called Happy Appy. The show's main character, with the same name as the title, is a claymation apple with a green stem and a wide, unsettling smile who's supposed to teach kids about safety and health. At first glance, Happy Appy seems like a typical educational show. Happy helps kids learn about wearing sunscreen, avoiding accidents, and being careful around dangerous objects. But as the narrator digs up more episodes, some found on VHS tapes, others from sketchy online sources, the tone of the show grows more crude and off-putting, and the lessons become more disturbing. Instead of helping the children, Happy starts witnessing or even supporting graphic injuries and accidents. The cheerful apple's voice and behavior becomes more sinister with each tape. As the blog continues, the narrator describes how the show's episodes are riddled with strange glitches, sudden jumps to disturbing imagery, and moments where Happy seems to break the fourth wall, speaking right to the viewer with threats of cryptic messages. The narrator's investigation gets even creepier when they begin to suspect that people who worked on the show or even watched it have gone missing or met with a tragic end. The deeper the narrator goes, the more they feel like they're being watched or stalked by someone or something trying to keep the secrets of Happy Appy buried. One of the most famous parts of the creepypasta is the introduction of a character called Forensic, a mysterious figure who seems to be erasing evidence of the show's existence and threatens anyone who gets too close to the truth. The narrator's journey becomes a full-on horror investigation, with late-night chases, ominous phone calls, and the growing sense that Happy Appy himself is more than a creepy puppet, maybe even something supernatural. Kenla Cove is one of the most famous and influential creepypastas, cleverly written as a series of forum posts where users reminisce about a bizarre and unsettling children's TV show from the 1970s. The story unfolds as a group of people recall watching Kenla Cove as kids, sharing fragmented memories that at first seem nostalgic but quickly become disturbing. At first, the show sounds fairly typical for low-budget children's programming. It features puppet characters like Pirate Percy, Janice, the villainous Skin Taker, and a creepy ship called the Laughing Stock. Janice, the main character, would go on strange adventures with these puppets, and the show is known for its homemade sets and occasionally unsettling dialogue. But as the forum users trade memories, their stories get weirder. They remember entire episodes where nothing happened except the puppets screaming, or episodes that ended with the characters staring silently at the camera. The most disturbing memory comes when one user recalls an episode where the Skin Talker's mouth moved in a way that seemed physically impossible, and the puppet explained that his mouth was made from the skin of children. The conversation turns even more unsettling when the user realizes that, according to their parents, the kids were never really watching a TV show, but were actually staring at static on the screen for about 30 minutes. The Rugrats theory is a well-known creepypasta that offers a dark, alternative interpretation of the beloved Nickelodeon cartoon Rugrats. The theory suggests that the events of the show aren't as innocent as they appear. Instead, they're the product of Angelica's imagination as she tries to cope with trauma and loneliness. According to the story, most of the babies, Tommy, Chucky, the twins, are not real. Tommy, the leader of the group, is said to have been stillborn. That's why his inventor dad, Stu, is always seen building toys for a child who unfortunately doesn't exist. Chucky was supposedly unalived in a car accident with his mom, explaining why his dad is so nervous and lonely throughout the series. Phil and Lil, the twins, are said to be the result of a miscarriage. Angelica imagines them as twins because their gender was never known. Although I heard that they were aborted too, so I'm not really sure which one to believe. Angelica, the only child who interacts with all the babies, is portrayed as a deeply troubled girl. She creates the stories of the babies and their adventures as a way to escape her own reality. Theory goes on to suggest that Angelica's mother, Charlotte, is emotionally unavailable and her father, Drew, is overwhelmed with work. Angelica's interactions with the adults are shaped by her own perceptions and needs, making the show's reality a reflection of her struggles. The theory also expands to other characters. Dill, Tommy's younger brother, is said to be the only real baby, which is why he acts differently from the others. When Angelica tries to treat Dill as she treats her imaginary friends, he suffers from her frustration and anger, leading to development issues. The theory even extends to the spin-off series All Grown Up, claiming that Angelica's guilt and trauma follow her into her teenage years, affecting her relationships and mental health. Max and Ruby 0004 is a chilling lost episode creepypasta that reimagines the beloved children's cartoon Max and Ruby in a deeply disturbing way. The story is told from the perspective of a fan who discovers a mysterious DVD titled Max and Ruby 0004 while browsing online for his little cousin. The DVD promises to contain unaired episodes, and curiosity gets to the better of the narrator, who orders it. When the DVD arrives, the first 3 episodes seem normal enough, though they're oddly silent. No background music or laughter, just the characters moving through their routines. However, when the 4th episode, labeled Max and Ruby 0004 begins, the tone shifts dramatically. The animation's dark and grainy, and the background is eerily empty, with no other characters or sign of life. As the episode unfolds, Max and Ruby are shown in their house, but everything feels off. Ruby appears worried, and Max is unusually quiet. The unsettling atmosphere builds as Ruby searches for her parents, but finds only emptiness and silence. The house feels abandoned, amplifying the sense of dread. The horror escalates when Ruby discovers a series of photographs on the wall. Gruesome images of the 2 siblings with their parents, but the parents' faces are scratched out. The episode then cuts to disturbing scenes. Ruby sobbing uncontrollably, Max staring blankly, and flashes of the scratched out photographs. Eventually, Ruby collapses in tears, and Max's expression turns from blank to hauntingly sinister. The episode ends with a chilling image. Max standing alone in a dark room, his eyes red and hollow, as the screen slowly fades to black. The narrator is left shaken and horrified, struggling to process what they've seen. The DVD's menu returns, but the option to play Max and Ruby 0004 has disappeared, as if the episode was never there. 1999 is a deeply unsettling creepypasta about the dark side of public access television and the dangers that can lurk where you least expect them. The story is told by a man named Elliot, who recalls his childhood experiences growing up in Caledon, Ontario, Canada, during the late 1990s. The heart of the tale is a mysterious local TV channel called Caledon Local 21. At first, Caledon Local 21 seems like just another low-budget community channel, airing strange but harmless shows like Soup and Spoon, Mr. Bear's Cellar, and Paint with the Clown. But something about these programs feels off. The hosts are awkward, the puppets are creepy, and the messages are sometimes weirdly personal or unsettling. The most infamous show is Mr. Bear's Cellar, a puppet show featuring a man in a bear costume who invites children into a cellar for quote-unquote fun and games. That's not creepy in the slightest. The episodes are poorly shot and get progressively darker, with Mr. Bear talking to kids about secrets and asking them to visit him in real life. Also creepy and disturbing, red flag number 2. As time goes on, Ellie and other children in the area start receiving personal letters or invitations from Mr. Bear, asking him to come to his house to be on the show. Elliot's parents refuse, but other kids accept, and soon, children begin to disappear from the community. The police eventually get involved. Investigators track down the house where the show was filmed, discovering a horrific scene in the cellar, evidence of child abduction and abuse, but no sign of Mr. Bear himself. The channel abruptly goes off the air and the case remains unsolved. Years later, Elliot becomes obsessed with finding out the truth about Caledon Local 21 and what really happened to those missing children. He starts a blog to document his memories and research, connecting with other people who remember the channel or have their own stories. The more he digs, the more he uncovers about other disturbing shows and the dark secrets behind them. The story ends in a haunting note, with hints that Mr. Bear may still be out there, and that the horrors of 1999 are not entirely in the past. And now for the last part of this video, the SpongeBob bootleg episode. The heart of this story is a single haunting image pulled from a split-second frame from a corrupted bootleg version of the episode dumped. Aside from this eerie frame, the rest of the footage is just a mess. Incomprehensible colors, static, and long stretches of black screen make it nearly impossible to watch. The audio on the tape only adds to the unease. It's a twisted, heavily distorted version of the original episode's soundtrack, punctuated by loud, droning buzzes that break through the noise at random intervals. The story goes that this mysterious tape was discovered in December 2004 by a group of 5 teenagers exploring an abandoned mental institution after they found the tape discarded in a trash can. From what I heard of this story, though, is they found it on the side of the road. But I don't know anymore. There's so many. I get them mixed up sometimes. What happened next is where the legend gets truly disturbing. Of those 5 teens, 2 passed by self-unaliving, 2 vanished without a trace, and another refused to talk about the tape to this day. And the last survivor, after being questioned about the strange disappearances, quickly handed the tape over to paranormal investigators. Since then, no one knows what happened to it. Some say that if you stare at the haunting SpongeBob image long enough, you'll actually see him blink. And that is the end of my top 10 favorite lost episode creepypastas. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I had fun making it. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my graphic designer for obviously the thumbnail. And if there's anything you guys would like me to react to or make a video on next, let me know down in the comments below. I will do my best to make it happen. Anyway, thank you guys again so much for all the love and support. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!